Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I would like to tell you about events from 2017 that took place in the American city of Raleigh, North Carolina. I invite you to listen to the story of Lauren Hugelmaier Phelps. Lauren Hugelmaier was born in 1988 and lived in Kentucky with her two sisters and parents. The family she grew up in was very religious, and Lauren's parents tried to instill values in their children that were important to them. The whole family was very close and supported each other. When Lauren was a teenager, her parents decided to move to Raleigh, North Carolina, where she completed high school and then studied business administration. Lauren was a very hard-working woman and usually worked in several places, trying to save as much money as possible. One day when she was 26 years old, she noticed a message on her Instagram account from a man she didn't know. When she started reading it, she realized it was someone she used to know. They went to the same middle school when she still lived in Kentucky. It was Matthew Phelps, who, while browsing his friends' Instagram accounts, noticed a photo of a pretty woman. He quickly realized he knew who she was. He remembered her from school, and he actually liked her a lot back then. He gathered the courage and wrote her a private message, hoping Lauren would respond. To his surprise, she replied, and they started exchanging messages. They really enjoyed talking to each other, but hundreds of kilometers separated them, which didn't help in forming a new relationship. Matthew visited Lauren in Raleigh several times, and after a few months of knowing each other, he decided to move to the city. He wanted to be close to Lauren so they could be together. The couple moved into a 3-bedroom house in Raleigh. Matthew was quickly accepted by Lauren's family, except for her father, who wasn't entirely convinced he was the right partner for his daughter. He couldn't pinpoint what he didn't like about him, but he had a feeling something was off with Matthew. However, it wasn't as if he showed his disapproval at every opportunity when he was around him. After all, it was his daughter's choice, and the most important thing was for her to be happy. The situation was somewhat different when it came to Matthew's family. When he was born, his mother was a young girl, only 17 years old. His biological father was not very interested in his son and did not participate in raising the child. On the other hand, the boy's mother was very engaged, but not in raising her own child, but in finding a new partner. She married several times, and new stepfathers appeared in Matthew's life from time to time. He didn't have a very good relationship with any of them, except one, with whom he spent a lot of time, mainly watching horror films, even though he was only 4 years old. Because the boy's mother didn't spend much time with him and wasn't really interested in raising her son, his grandparents took over his care. They looked after his education, and when they noticed he had found a group of friends at school who were having a bad influence on his behavior, they acted immediately. They knew the boy was consuming cough syrup in large quantities, which was supposed to put him in a state similar to other drugs. He also didn't shy away from alcohol. They couldn't allow their grandson to behave this way. They didn't want him to waste his life, so they decided to transfer him to another school. They found a place for him in a private Catholic school, and there Matthew completely changed. He gave up on syrup and focused more on his studies. His grades improved significantly, and after finishing middle school, he went to college. He owed all of this to his grandparents, as his mother only appeared in his life from time to time. But when he met Lauren and started dating her, he decided to introduce her to both his grandparents and his mother. However, from the very beginning, his mother did not like Lauren. It was hard to say what the reason was, as Lauren gave her no reason for it. She was a truly lovely girl, but Matthew's mother didn't like her and made no effort to hide it. Once, Lauren and Matthew were invited to a family party where a commemorative photo was to be taken. To ensure it was perfect, everyone was supposed to wear blue outfits, or so Matthew's mother had told Lauren. However, when the couple arrived, it turned out that only the men were supposed to be in blue, while all the women, except Lauren, were in white. The situation became awkward, and the photos had to be canceled. Matthew's mother publicly accused Lauren of doing it on purpose to ruin the family event, insisting she knew she should have worn white. Lauren suspected it was a deliberate move to embarrass her and show that she was not welcome in the family. Despite Matthew's mother's animosity towards Lauren, the couple continued to nurture their relationship. They loved each other very much, and nothing could change that. Once a week, they visited Lauren's parents for a family dinner. After the meal, they usually played various games, and during one game involving asking questions and giving honest answers, it came out that Matthew had been married before, but the marriage ended in divorce. It hadn't occurred to him to mention this to his partner before, which was a big surprise for her and her family. They wondered why Matthew was already divorced at such a young age, but he wasn't very keen on explaining it to them. However, this wasn't a reason to end Lauren and Matthew's relationship. Divorces happen, and anyone can end up with the wrong person. In 2015, Matthew proposed to Lauren, and in November 2016, they got married, with a Star Wars-themed wedding. Both Lauren and Matthew were fans of the film, so elements related to it were a must on the most important day of their lives. They couldn't imagine their wedding without lightsabers and other items known to fans of the film. After the wedding, the couple led a typical young married life. They tried to spend every free moment traveling, sharing photos on Lauren's Instagram account. The 28-year-old often posted pictures of her husband, thanking fate for meeting him and being able to be his wife. To an outside observer, they seemed like the perfect couple. But 10 months after their wedding, on September 1, 2017, around 1 a.m., the emergency dispatcher received a strange call. A man on the phone said he woke up from a dream and, upon turning on the light, saw his wife lying on the floor next to the bed. She was covered in blood, and he could only guess what had happened, as there was a knife lying next to him on the bed. He wasn't sure if she was alive or not because he was afraid to get too close. From a distance, it seemed she was dead. He suspected he might be the perpetrator, although he couldn't remember anything. His body was covered in blood, hence the suspicion. His report was somewhat chaotic, but he explained that he had taken a large amount of cough syrup the night before, which always helped him sleep. Whenever he had trouble sleeping, he took this syrup. It made him feel better and definitely less stressed, allowing him to sleep peacefully. Perhaps too much of it caused some hallucinations. He couldn't believe he had done something like that to his wife. He had no idea why it happened, but he knew his wife didn't deserve it. This man was Matthew Phelps. When the police arrived, Lauren was still alive, but she was pronounced dead shortly after being taken to the hospital. Her body had many injuries, with over 100 wounds, mostly around the head and chest. She had no chance of survival. In her clenched hand, there were hairs that later DNA tests confirmed belonged to Matthew.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Patuxent Drive.
Okay, just repeat that address to make sure we have it right.
Patuxent Drive, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay, and what is your first and last name? Phone number you calling from?
Phone number?
Yes, sir. Tell me exactly what happened.
I think I killed my...
What do you mean by that? What happened?
I had a dream, and then I turn on the lights and she's dead on the floor.
How?
I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it.
Okay. Alright, stay on the phone with me. I'm getting our ambulance, okay?
I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
When did you wake up to find this?
I don't even know what time it is.
Alright, stay on the phone with me, sir. I just gotta ask you a few questions, okay? I'm getting some help to you. Are you with the patient now?
Yeah, I can see her.
Okay. Alright, how old is the patient? How old is your...
She's 29.
Okay. Is she awake at all right now? What makes you think she's dead? Is she awake?
She's not breathing.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, do you think she is beyond any help?
I don't know. I'm too scared to get too close to her.
Okay, just stay on the phone with me, sir. I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I'm so scared.
All right, I've already sent the paramedics to help you, okay? I'm sending someone to assist you. Just please leave everything as you found it. Is there anything else we can do for you, sir? Where's the knife right now?
The knife's on the bed. I'm not next to it, so I don't have a weapon on me or anything like that.
Okay. When did you wake up?
I don't know. I took more medicine than I should have.
What medicine did you take?
I took Corseed, cough and cold, Corseed, HPP, cough and cold, because I know it can make you feel good. So a lot of times I can't sleep at night.
Okay.
I took some.
All right, so what are you sure she's not breathing?
She's not moving. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm gonna stay here with you. Okay, let's at least see if she's breathing. Okay.
I'm so
all right.
by her.
Can you see her from where you're at?
Yeah, it's so bad. There's so much blood.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna stay here on the phone with you until help gets there. Okay. Just don't touch anything. Just look at is she breathing at all? Is her chest moving? Is anything going on with her?
No.
Okay. Well, we're gonna at least.
The blood is dried on me.
It's dried.
The blood's not wet on me. The blood is dry. So I don't know what. Oh my God.
All right. Well, we're gonna at least try to help her. Okay. All right. Just give me this. All right. I've already sent the paramedics to help you. Just stand alone. I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do next. Okay. Are you right by her?
Oh my God. I mean, I can see her, but oh my God.
Stay with me, sir. I know this is upsetting, but we were gonna try to do as much for her as you can. If you're not sure that she's gone, we're gonna try to help her. Okay. So just listen carefully. Just listen, okay, sir? Or just look at her right now. Can you tell me what you see? Is the chest moving? Is she breathing? Anything at all?
No, she's not moving at all. No, he didn't deserve this. Why?
I understand, sir. I understand, but right now we just want to make sure we're doing as much as possible. Is there anyone else at all in the home with you, or is it just you and her?
No, it's just me and her.
Where are you in the house? Where are you in the house, sir?
At the back of the house. There's a light on it.
Okay, well. All right, is the door unlocked?
I don't know.
Can you go do that for me, sir? That way the paramedics can get in. Are you able to do that?
No.
Okay, go ahead and stay on the phone with me. Go ahead and unlock the door, okay?
That's not blue light.
What'd you say, sir? Go ahead and unlock the door. Let me know when she's done that, okay? Let me know when the door's unlocked. Okay, you said officers are there?
No.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go.
Meanwhile, her husband remained at the crime scene with the police. The officers immediately began to view him with suspicion. Considering the condition his wife was in, it seemed that there should be more blood on his body, but there were only a few stains on his shoes and shirt, and a few small marks on his face. The police suspected that the man had managed to clean himself before they arrived. Everything they saw at the scene also looked like it had been deliberately staged. The knife was left in plain sight on their bed, and an empty bottle of cough syrup, which Matthew mentioned in his report, was immediately noticeable on the kitchen counter, as if it had been placed there on purpose. Also, Matthew himself behaved completely differently than during the emergency call, where he tearfully reported what had happened. When the police arrived at the scene, he was very calm and spoke about everything without any emotion. Because he was the prime suspect, he was immediately arrested. When the investigation into the case began, the police started to take a closer look at the lives of both Lauren and Matthew. It turned out that their marriage was not as perfect as it might have seemed from the outside, especially on Lauren's Instagram account. They approached life in a completely different way, perhaps stemming from their different upbringings. Lauren also worked hard outside of her job. As religion still played a significant role in her life, she was involved in church activities and worked as a teacher in the church school every Sunday. She also tried to earn extra money by selling scented candles, which she also promoted through her YouTube account. She did everything to earn money not only for current expenses, but also to save some. As for her husband, he wasn't as inclined to hard work. He often changed jobs, and when he managed to find employment, he usually didn't stay there long, either quitting on his own or being fired. Eventually, he decided to go back to college to pursue his dream. He wanted to study the Bible to become a pastor in the future. And Matthew returned to college, also working in lawn mowing. However, it was mainly Lauren who earned money to support the household. However, this didn't stop Matthew from spending money recklessly. He enjoyed playing computer games and could spend a lot of money on them and other electronic gadgets. In general, he spent more than they earned together, which caused many arguments between them. Lauren tried to talk to him, explaining how everything should work, that they should save some money for unforeseen expenses. They both also dreamed of going to Disneyland, but it was a considerable expense for which Lauren already had some money saved up. However, it turned out that on her account, which had $10,000 at the time of their marriage, only $1,000 remained. Matthew had also managed to spend that money. Not only Matthew's uncontrolled spending was the cause of the arguments that erupted between them. There was also jealousy in their relationship. Matthew was jealous of the man Lauren worked with at Sunday school. He suspected that his wife was attracted to him. He had no reason to believe that Lauren was cheating on him, but it was enough reason for him to have fits of jealousy. He justified his behavior by the fact that his first wife had cheated on him. While on a mission, she met a man who was first her lover, and eventually she left Matthew for him. This story was later not confirmed by his ex-wife. The reason for ending their relationship was not infidelity, but the fact that Matthew behaved during their marriage exactly the same way as in his relationship with Lauren. He spent too much, while not working too much, and consequently not earning enough to support them. However, Lauren did not know the truth, and on the one hand she understood his behavior. On the other hand, she knew that she didn't give him any reasons to behave like that. She was already tired of constant arguments with her husband, especially since he allowed himself to behave quite differently. He befriended a woman who was their neighbor and spent a lot of time with her. They had fun together, which he didn't hide from his wife. Once, he even returned from work and immediately went to her apartment, completely ignoring the fact that Lauren was waiting for him with dinner. He later only texted her to eat dinner alone because he was having a great time with Valerie. Lauren often talked to her family about thinking of ending their relationship, not only because of Matthew's uncontrolled spending or suspecting him of cheating. She was also not comfortable with her husband trying to control her every move. Only her being a religious person prevented her from immediately ending this relationship. She gritted her teeth and tried to give them another chance. However, shortly before her death, she talked about not seeing any possibility for this marriage to survive. She knew that despite all efforts, it was already over. A few hours before Lauren's death, she was on the phone with her sister and told her that when Matthew came home, she would tell him that she wanted a divorce. Apparently, he was unable to accept this. During the investigation, The police also discovered that Matthew, who aspired to become a pastor, had a hidden side that he kept from everyone. Investigators found his Instagram account, which none of his family and friends knew about. It was almost entirely devoted to the movie American Psycho. The main character of this film is a banker during the day, but at night he becomes a serial killer. Matthew's fascination with this movie and its main character was evident. In one of the photos, Matthew even dressed up and characterized himself as the actor of this film. However, the most disturbing was the post that appeared shortly before Lauren's death. Matthew wrote then, "Everyone thinks I'm a serial killer. Hashtag I found an angel to kill." A bit strange content for someone who wants to become a pastor in the future. One of his friends also testified that Matthew once wondered what it feels like to take someone's life. The 28-year-old consistently testified, however, that he remembered absolutely nothing about the course of the crime, blaming the consumption of too much cough syrup for everything. He suspected that this dose might have caused some hallucinations, and indeed the side effects of consuming a large amount of this medicine are hallucinations. But when Matthew was examined, there was too little of this substance in his body to cause them. However, in his cell phone, he searched for information about this syrup a few days before Lauren's death. He had taken it in large quantities several years earlier, but apparently he wanted to make sure if it still worked the same way as before. He checked if the same side effects he remembered were still occurring. This only confirmed the investigators' suspicions that it was a planned crime and the cough syrup was supposed to be just a cover. The house where the couple lived was also checked. Investigators had the impression that the house had been partially cleaned before the police arrived at the scene, and they arrived exceptionally quickly. Matthew wouldn't have had time to clean up between the report and the arrival of the officers. This would mean that he cleaned up before he called for help, and the entire house was checked using luminol, and according to the assumptions, blood traces were found almost throughout the house, not just in the bedroom. The most were found in the bathroom, but all the stains were well removed before the police arrived. The trial in this case began in October 2018. If Matthew had not pleaded guilty, and even then the jury would have found him guilty, he could have faced the death penalty. The defense tried to present him as a man who had problems with depression. Confirmation of this was found in the diaries of the 28-year-old, in which it could be read how insecure he felt in his marriage. He felt that he didn't fit into his wife's family at all. Also, the neighbor, with whom Matthew occasionally met, confirmed that he had anxiety disorders and depression problems. Both of them had them, so they understood each other so well. However, she noticed that over time, the man began to talk more and more about death and taking his own life. It scared her so much that she decided to limit her contact with him. Ultimately, during the trial, Matthew admitted to killing his wife, thus avoiding the death penalty. He admitted that the alibi he was to provide him with cough syrup was a lie. He pretended to be drugged while calling for an ambulance, all to avoid responsibility for his actions. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. After the verdict was announced, Matthew turned to his wife's family, apologizing for what he had done. He stated that it was a senseless and thoughtless act, and that he regretted every step that led him in this direction. However, his apologies were not accepted. Lauren's father cannot forgive him for what he did. Their whole family treated him as their own son, and when he asked for their daughter's hand, Matthew promised that he would always take care of her and protect her. They cannot forgive him for taking their daughter away from them, and because of him, they will never see their Lauren again.
Do you understand that you're pleading guilty to one offense? That's the offense of first-degree murder. It is a felony. It carries the maximum penalty of death or life without the possibility of parole. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you personally plead guilty to the charge I just described?
Yes, sir.
And did you in fact murder your wife, Lauren Hugelmaier Phelps, by stabbing her multiple times?
Yes, sir.
It says you're going to plead guilty to the offense I just described. You'll be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole in the custody of North Carolina Division of Adult Correction.
This is the end of this story. Thank you for listening to it until the end. Goodbye. Take care.